Hi, how are you? Happy Wednesday. Happy like a week away from Christmas. I don't really know how we got here, but here we are at the end of 2020. So let me give you a little context as to sort of how this came about. Some of you might know that, I'm just making my screen a little bigger. Some of you might know that for the second half of 2020, I started working with a life coach. And it was kind of, I suppose, almost like a personal development therapist in a way, you know, business and life and all of it kind of mixed in. And I've always had mentors throughout my business. I've always sought out mentors. They're super important to me. And this was the first time I'd had, you know, kind of a quote unquote life coach. And it was amazing, but I didn't feel like I did a good enough job of trickling that down to you. And yes, my own personal growth is important, but I also need to make sure that I'm passing that on to you. That's part of being a team. And I didn't think that I was doing a good enough job with that. And what was interesting is the week that, and she was amazing. So I'm highly valued my time with her. It was a really great way for me to sort of dip my toes into the life coaching sphere. She was kind of Gabby Bernstein-ish, which I really loved. And it was interesting that the week that I finished with her and was like, what to do, I got a message from Brad that said, hey, Julie, I've got this situation. What do you think about this? And we started talking. I'm like, okay, universe, thank you very much for that. The journey to get to this point had to happen through 2020. It had to be sort of that 6-month period in the beginning where everything seemed like we were just going to have this awesome year. And it is awesome. It's just awesome in a different way. And then the world shut down. And then you saw me every day at our team page for like 6 months straight, every day. And then I needed some pouring into myself because that energy has to be reciprocated. You can't go out all the time without putting it back in. So hence the life coach. And again, I just didn't feel like it was getting the trickle down effect that I wanted to for you. That's really of paramount importance to me, that whatever's coming in to me is also going out to you. So when Brad came in my inbox with this opportunity, it was like, oh yes, exactly. That's exactly what we needed. And we just had to get through 2020 to get to this place where we were ready for this, because the universe always has perfect timing. So Brad and I came together, we had some discussions, and it was funny because Brad, when you messaged me, I know you're like, how about this and this? I'm like, I'm obsessed. What are we doing? Let's do it. I'm in. Let's just go. Because there comes a point in time when you can't be a prophet in your own land. And you all have heard me for 12 and a half years. And I might say something and Brad might say something and Brad says it in a slightly different way, and it turns a light bulb on for you. And let me tell you something. If you as a coach are letting your ego get in the way in this business, you're doing yourself and your team a disservice. I don't care who turns the light bulb on for you. I care that the light bulb gets turned on and that you discover your potential and you unlock your greatness. And if it comes from me, awesome. If it comes from Brad, even more awesome. If it comes from Sally Joe down the street, I do not care, as long as it happens. So Brad has got this amazing program for us over the next 3 months. You've already seen him in the Facebook page a couple times. You're getting a taste of what we're going to get a taste of even more over the next 3 months. And it's a really comprehensive, structured program that will take place January, February, and March. There will be a couple opportunities for some extended mentorship. We'll talk about those another time. But tonight we're going to dive into mindset. We're going to dive into the modules that will be available to the entire team. The entire team, whether you're 12 levels down from me, 2 levels down from me, 24 levels down from me, or if you enroll a coach in January, February, and March, all this training will be available to them. What a beautiful additional inviting tool. And here's the deal, friends. If someone is coming onto you and they say they want to build a business and they're not digging the personal growth journey that they need to be on, this is probably not the team or the business for them. And that's okay. because now we know. We want them to understand from the get-go that personal growth is paramount to professional growth, and that's what we do on this team. So let them know, let your potential coaches know as you're talking, as you're inviting now, forever, because this training will live in our team page forever, that when they come in, they also get this mindset training. What a gift. What a gift this is to our coaches now and to our coaches that will come on in 2021. And what a lovely sound that is, isn't it? 2021. 2021. Bye-bye 2020, 2021. We're coming. So I'm going to be quiet. I've got my notebook here, Brad, ready to take lots of notes. I'm going to encourage everyone to put him on speaker view. Make sure you've got your notebook. You're sitting up, you're paying attention, you've got your pen, you've got your pencil, you're ready to take notes, you're ready to absorb, you're ready to receive, you're ready to learn, you're ready to grow. And he's going to lay it all out for you and then tell you about the structure of the program. And then we'll probably have time for a few questions at the end. It's going to be good stuff. Okay, I'm muting. You're up.
Woo! What is up, Sparta Nation? Happy freaking, what day is it? It's Wednesday. Happy freaking Wednesday. Super excited to be here with you guys. Oh my gosh, I am beyond pumped to kick this program off. How many guys have seen me yapping in the team page the last couple weeks? Raise your hand if you've seen me yapping in the team page the last couple weeks. Any fresh meat? Any fresh meat? We're going to have some fun over these next couple weeks. I'm so excited. By the way, disclaimer ahead of time, we have a 3-month-old and she's going to be going to bed right behind this wall in like 10 minutes. And so if you hear screaming, we are not keeping people in our basements. It is, it's just that we have an infant and she's awesome and adorable and amazing. So thank you guys so much for the privilege of allowing me to serve you tonight. I cannot wait to take you through this and just to be here with you guys. And also before I dive in, can we just take a minute and honor this incredible, incredible leader that you have? Like, seriously, not just from, obviously, yes, Julie's accomplished so much, and I think it's 11-time elite team or something like that. Incredible, incredible things. But beyond the accomplishments, I don't think you'll ever find a bigger heart. Julie Voris is someone who just everything she focuses on is how can I make my team's life better? And that's why she's giving you this gift. She sees your potential and sees what you're capable of. And I just think it's, Julie, I honor you so much and respect you so much. And I'm so grateful for you. And I just wanted to take a minute and let you know from the bottom of my heart how grateful I am. But also just to see what everyone else thinks of Julie in the chat box. Let's give Julie some praise in the chat box. She's the bomb diggity from Ophelia. I love it. That's amazing. Let's all just take a second and share some gratitude for Julie, because seriously, this was an investment on her part. It's a leap of faith and a financial investment for her to do this, and that's how much she loves you guys. And so I also want all of you to know that I won't betray your trust. Over these next few months, this time that we spend in this mentorship together is time you can't get back. You can't get that time from your family back. You can't get that time back from your spouse, from your kids, from your business. It is an investment in your time. And my promise to you is that I will not betray that trust. This will be above and beyond anything you could ever expect. It'll be above and beyond. So what I'd like to do with you guys tonight is, before we actually dive into, I have on a separate monitor here the outline of the program. But how many of you guys want to do a little mindset work right now? How many of you guys want to do some mindset work? Type yes in the chat box if you want to do some mindset work. Mindset is something that is near and dear to my heart. It's what I'm an expert in, because for the longest time in my life, I did not have an empowering mindset. Guys, when I started my journey, I was $92,000 in student debt. I had a horrible relationship with my mother. I was stressed out beyond all belief in a corporate job that I couldn't stand, working 80 hours a week, just stressed and panicked and worried. And it felt like no matter what I did, it was never enough. How many of you guys have ever felt like no matter how hard you push, your feeling of worthiness feels like a moving target? It's like, even if you achieve something, what's next? I never took the time to celebrate myself. I never felt like what I was doing was enough. And I was seeking validation so much in so many different areas of my life because I didn't truly believe in myself on the outside. I was waiting for my circumstances around me to change in order for me to be happy. But I didn't realize at the time that I needed to learn how to be happy if I ever wanted my circumstances to change. And that's what we want to master together. A lot of times people go for, imagine like you're pruning a bush, right? A lot of times people go for mindset stuff and business stuff by working on the bush, like the flower and the leaves, right? They trim it and they try to prune it and make it look all pretty. But if it's a toxic plant and there's limiting beliefs and things that are coming up from the roots, it doesn't matter how much you trim and prune and all these things. It's just going to keep you stuck and you're going to go back to the way that you were. My job is to get to the root, to get to what goes on behind the scenes in your noggin, to get to what's actually empowering you and what's stopping you, what makes you feel alive and what makes you feel just struggling. And we all face both of those feelings and way more than that. But I have really good news for you. It's universal. How many of you guys have ever felt when you're in a limiting pattern where you feel like the world is freaking coming to an end, or maybe you miss Success Club, or you miss your push for the end of your goal, or you miss 2-star, whatever the goal is that you're going for. And it feels like there's this huge, insane story about why it didn't happen, why it isn't fair, I didn't have the support, I didn't have the time, and it just feels like your story is overwhelming. The good news is that your story is just that. It's just a story. But human behavior comes in patterns. And now after working with tens of thousands of people, I have seen that I learned this from Tony Robbins back in the day, years ago. Now, he's worked with millions of people, and he said something that stuck with me. He said, I'd have to be an idiot at this point and not recognize patterns. And that's where I feel like I'm at. There are patterns to human behavior. There are patterns that make us feel alive. There are patterns that make us feel stressed. There are patterns that make us go after big dreams. There are patterns that make us hold back. What we oftentimes do is say, no, there's something wrong with me. If there's anything you can take away from this entire 3 months, please hear me now. You are not broken and no one needs to fix you. There is nothing wrong with anyone. There's nothing wrong. We've just rewarded our patterns and conditioned them into who we are so much that we think it's who we are. It's not who we are. We are not our patterns. That's why I always say, see the innocence in people. If you ever have a family member that you're having a tough time with, they are not their behaviors. See the soul of the person, not the behaviors of the person. The soul of the person is innocent. The soul is the person that's the person that's connected to something bigger than themselves, a much more spiritual focus. And when you have that approach to life, you see that people's patterns are changeable. You can change your patterns no matter where you are in your life. How many of you guys for end of 2020 and 2021, how many of you guys know in your heart with zero doubt in your mind, you are made for so much more than what you're getting out of life right now? Raise your hand if you know you're meant for so much more. And how many of you guys feel like even though you're spending the time, for some reason, you're not able to capitalize on that potential in the way that you would like to? And you're going, what's stopping me from doing that? Not only are we going to break through what's stopping you from getting there, but we're also going to accelerate what is working. Because we don't just want to focus on the past. If we live in the past, it becomes the future. We want to note the past and learn from the past. We want to get rid of all the blocks that we have, but we want to live in a compelling vision of the future and what we want to create. And that's one of the first things we're going to do together. And so a lot of times people ask me, how do I change this? How do I shift this? And I'm going to take you through a little exercise here to show you why it is that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Why is it that the happy people tend to get happier and the sad people tend to get more sad? Why is it that people that feel empowered tend to do more empowering things and people that feel disempowered tend to disempower themselves even more? If you had awareness into this, do you think it would allow you to make some changes? Anyone? Anyone up for it? Fantastic. Because write this down, self-awareness is freedom. Once you see and have awareness into what's holding you back, then when that pattern, keyword pattern, comes up again, you can go, wait a minute, no, I'm not gonna do that anymore. And you can start to change your life. And guys, not only has this changed our financial lives forever, but it's also led to this point where like this feeling of annoyingly happy that you see on a regular basis coming from me, that's like my default setting. And I'm not sharing that to impress you, but to impress upon you that with some small tweaks, 2 millimeter shifts, everything can change. It does not take a massive shift to change your life, guys. It might feel like a massive shift. It might feel like it, but I'm telling you, just something that's as small as 2 little millimeters can change everything. For example, the difference between confidence and lack of confidence. Watch this. Tell me when I go to like lack of confidence. Notice the difference? 2 millimeters. That's all it is. A little tiny shift. If a plane takes off from LA to New York and they're off by 1 degree, they end up hundreds of miles away. 1 degree. We're just going to get you back on track. But the key to this, and this is what I want you guys to make a promise of as we go through this program, notice instead of self-judge. Have you ever noticed that when you're out of alignment with your true nature, who you really are, it's so easy to judge yourself for being out of alignment. It's so easy to say, oh, you're worthless. Why'd you do that? And you beat yourself up. Guys, we are so mean to ourselves on a regular basis. We need to adopt some self-kindness and some self-love into our lives. Because just the idea of noticing that we're off track is a win. That's a win. But when we judge ourselves for not being perfect, then we make it even worse and we start to feel guilty, and then we just bleed into this perfection even more. Guys, perfection is the lowest possible standard we could ever set for ourselves. It's lower than doing nothing. It's lower than doing the minimum. Because no matter if you win in business, win in money, or don't do anything, either way you have pain. Perfection equals pain. That's all it gives you. It will never lead to happiness. And the longer you chase it, the more guilt you're going to feel and the more you'll try to escape feelings. We don't want to live that way. We want to change it. So we want to notice when we're out of alignment and just gently nudge ourselves 2 millimeters back on track instead of beating ourselves up. How many guys know you need to stop beating yourselves up so much? Anyone? You know, stop beating yourselves up. Can we promise that through this training, we're not going to beat ourselves up? Let's have a safe word. Pineapple, right? Pineapple will be our safe word. And actually, we can use peach cobbler. In my team, with our marketing team and my assistants and stuff, we use the word peach cobbler. Whenever we're out of alignment with our main goals, we go peach cobbler, and we get back into alignment. So whenever you're out of alignment, whenever you notice that things are off, whenever you notice you're kind of beating yourself up, instead of going down that path and maybe compensating with food or alcohol or TV, just peach cobbler it. Just notice. Notice instead of self-judge, and we can get back on track. And that is huge, guys, because think about the amount of time that is spent in self-judgment and how that limits your potential. How much time do we spend on judging ourselves for what we didn't do instead of acknowledging and respecting ourselves for what we did do? Think about it. If you spend your time just going, oh, I didn't get all that done. How many of you guys have ever gotten a to-do list and literally like looked at your to-do list and been stressed out that you haven't gotten it all done? And even if you get it all done, you're still stressed out. And then the next day you add things to your to-do list that you've already freaking done just to feel better about it. How many of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, right? I see you laughing. You guys know what I'm talking about? We want to let go of that. We want to let go of that. We don't want to count what we haven't done. We want to acknowledge what we are doing. And we're going to talk about that in this program in way more detail. So let's dive into this model. And this is super, super important. Type in the chat box, what would you say is the potential of human beings? What's the potential of human beings? What do you think it is? You know, limitless, unlimited. Yes, unlimited. Whoo, I love that word, limitless. Anyone else? Yeah. Infinite, amazing, fantastic. Then why don't we hit it? Why don't we hit it? Anyone have any ideas? Why? Type in the chat box. Why, if our potential is unlimited, we hold ourselves back, fear, self-limiting fear? Yeah. The level of potential we tap into determines everything. And so I want you to draw 4 little boxes. In the bottom left, right above it, it's like a square, 4 little boxes in the shape of a square, okay? In the top left, I want you to write the word potential. potential. And then you're going to draw an arrow over to the box in the top right. And that box in the top right, you're going to write the word action. And from that box in the top right with the word action, you're going to draw an arrow down. And the next box at the bottom right is going to be results. And so far we have the bottom left that's blank so far. If our potential is unlimited and we don't tap into it, if we have a lower level of potential that we tap into, then what happens to our level of action that we take? It goes way down. And if we take less action, what happens to our results? They go way down. And you're probably wondering, what's this box in the bottom left? This is the key to it all. And that word in the bottom left is belief. Belief, otherwise known as certainty. Belief, and in parentheses put certainty. Whatever we believe about business, about life, about marriage, about happiness, about money, about anything, our beliefs, a feeling of certainty about what something means, that's all a belief is, determines the level of action or level of potential we tap into, and therefore determines the level of action we take, and therefore determines the level of results we get, and therefore reinforces the belief. For example, if I were to say this word, and I don't want you to answer in the way that you think me or Julie wants to hear. Answer as if what you actually believe behind the scenes when no one's looking. How would you finish this sentence? Business is. Business is. Don't bullshit me. I used to be a bullshitter. Business is. Scary. Good, Deborah. Thank you for your vulnerability, Deborah. Beautiful. Scary. Complicated. Work. What else? What else, guys? Guys, I love this. Thank you so much for actually playing all out with me. Hard, cutthroat, stressful, hard, amazing, hard work, incredible. These are beliefs. This is intimidating, stressful, overwhelming, fun, unpredictable, overwhelming. These are beliefs. Business is overwhelming. And the reason we have a belief is because we have references of the past. Notice I say we don't want to live in the past. We have references from the past that prove this to be true. I want you to think of a belief like a table. Okay, a belief is like a table, and that table has legs. Okay, each leg is a reference of the past that proves that belief true, that holds that table up. Well, so many people have so many beliefs or so much reinforcement of a belief that they feel with absolute certainty this is how something is. But you have to ask yourself, is it true that business is overwhelming, for example? Is that true? Is that the actual truth? Or is that just what your past has conditioned you to believe? It's just what your past has conditioned you to believe. Because I guarantee you can find someone else that doesn't feel this way. You can find multiple people. I don't feel this way. Sometimes I can get overwhelmed. I'm a human. Everyone feels that way from time to time, but I know how to snap out of it really, really quickly. I'll teach you how to do that in the program. But the point is, we have references. And once we create some doubt around those references, we cut out those table legs and the belief crumbles. Does that make sense? Uh-oh. Anyone there? You guys there? Okay, cool. You're there. I just want to make sure I didn't lose you. It froze up for a second. But we cut out the legs and the belief crumbles. Does that make sense? So we need to change our beliefs. From a belief that business is stressful, for example, Molly's example here. Molly, thank you for your vulnerability. If you have a belief that business is stressful, how are you going to approach inviting? Full force, certainty, I got this? Or more timid, please accept me, please join me? Right? If business is overwhelming, right? When it comes time to doing our invites and follow-ups and social media posts and inviting a 9-week control freak and all these incredible things going on, if business is overwhelming, then we're going to let things pile up on our plate. And how much potential are we going to tap into? How are we going to show up for a product launch? Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. There's so much going on. How am I ever going to do this? And we get bogged down with a story about what something means when really we just need to ask people if they want their life changed today. That's it. That's literally it, right? And so we get overwhelmed. If business is frustrating, Will there be a sense of anger or resentment or an assumption that people are going to say no when you do your invites? Do you see how just from the stem, the root, the belief, it completely changes the potential you tap into? Because if you believe business is exciting, business is freedom, business is service, business is spreading love, and that's what you believe, and that's how you show up every day, you're going to show up with a completely new mindset. Then when you show up with a completely new mindset, what happens to your level of potential? Boom, skyrockets. What then happens to your level of action? You're going to do 40 million invites today because you love it so much. And then what happens to your results? Even if one person says yes from your 40 million you invited, you get better results than when you had to believe that business is frustrating. By the way, when you get better results, then what happens to your belief that business is love, business is service, business is exciting? It gets stronger. This is why the rich get richer. This is why the poor get poorer. Because a belief dictates everything. And a belief is nothing more than a feeling of certainty. That's all it is. You feel certain about something. Well, guess what? Certainty can be changed. You can feel certain about other things too. How do we change this though? How do we change from business is frustrating to business is exciting, or whatever you want it to be? One word: vision. Vision. I'm going to take you through a process in session 3 to rip out limiting beliefs, and there will be tears. There will be tears. Okay, we're going to rip out limiting beliefs in session 3. Trust me, it's going to be amazing. It'll be so powerful. But for now, when we have these beliefs that business is frustrating, business is overwhelming, you can do this with everything: marriage, bank account, anything. These beliefs are based on the past. And the past only becomes the future if you live there. I say that all the time in your team page, right? The past only becomes the future if you live there. So our beliefs are based on the past, but the past doesn't equal the future. Write this down. Biography is not destiny. Just because you've lived a certain way until now does not mean that's your ultimate destination or destiny. It does not mean that. You can change, and it just takes one little shift. That's all it takes to change everything. One little shift. And how you change it is vision. Think about a little kid, right? I think we talked about this in a live video the other day. I'm not sure, but I do a lot of live videos. Think about this, like a little kid. How many of you guys have kids? Raise your hand if you have kids. How many of you guys have kids that are younger? Kids that are younger? Okay, and if you have kids that are older, just remember back to the time when your kids were younger. What happened when you asked your kids what they wanted to be when they grew up? What did they say when they were like 5 years old? I want to be Spider-Man and Batman and the president and an astronaut all at the same time, right? That's what they wanted to do. And they got so excited, and they pictured it, and they took their little airplane and their rocket ship, and they flew it around, and they landed on the fake moon, and then they drew a really bad drawing that you looked at and said, oh my gosh, that's so incredible, right? And you just like loved it and adored it so much. And then they watched Spider-Man, and my dad bought me a Spider-Man shaving kit when I was like 6 years old. And so the reason I bring this up is because think about that. They are compelled by a vision of the future. Somewhere along the way, we get told, sit down, shut up, be perfect, prove your worth. You have to work hard and you can never take a break, right? We get told and taught this along the way, right? Think about classrooms. Classrooms are not built for entrepreneurships. Classrooms are built for assembly lines. That's what, like, think about that. You're told to sit down, shut up, and do your part. That's what you're told to do. Right? So somewhere along the way, whatever age it is, we start to get conditioned that, I don't know. Then we start to link pain to what someone says. We start to link pain to how something didn't go. And so we get trapped in this rut of thinking that it's just like the past. And that's not true. If we can be like our 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids, everything will change. I have dreams of buying a house on the Amalfi Coast and walking my daughter down the streets and showing her how to contribute and be grateful and just live with an abundance mindset. I have these huge visions of selling out stadiums, like incredible things that make me feel alive every day. And I picture them vividly every day. The brain visualizes things all the time. We just oftentimes don't put enough detail into it, and we're visualizing the past. And when you visualize the past, you just create it. You just recreate it, recreate it, recreate it. You relive it. You relive pain, you relive trauma, you relive whatever it was that didn't go the way that you wanted it to do. So think about this. To create a compelling vision and to actually create that life, what's required? More empowering emotions, right? You can't create your dreams from a constant state of frustration. You're not going to create your dreams from a constant state of overwhelm. You're not going to create your dreams from anger. You're going to create them from excitement, from love, from empathy, from caring, from compassion, from contribution, from joy, from aliveness, to whatever it is. That's where you're going to create your dreams from. Where do those emotions come from? Your energy. Energy. Write this down. Emotion is energy in motion. Emotion is energy in motion. When you learn to change your energy, by the way, creating a vivid picture of the future, what does that do to kids? When they want to be Spider-Man and the president and an astronaut on the same day, what happens to their energy? Does it go up or down? Do they slouch on the couch and binge on Netflix and Friends and, pretend that they're Joey, how you doing? Or do they get up and say instead, do they go, oh my gosh, Mom, this is so exciting. I'm so passionate. I can't wait to do this, right? And whatever little kid language they do, their energy increases. It increases. And from increased energy, what happens to potential? Right? It goes up. What happens to your creativity? Goes up. There are solutions right in front of you right now to change every part of your life, but you're likely not seeing them because you're looking at life through one little lens. One little lens. And oftentimes we try to say, well, I can't find the freedom that I want. But you ever been to the eye doctor? 1 or 2, 2 or 3, 2 or 4, right? You go to the eye doctor and they do that vision test and they check which lens would be the best for you. We need to take a look at the lens that we look at life. I think I've done this exercise with you, but I'm going to prove this to you right now. Watch this. Look around the room that you're in right now and count up the number of things you can find that are red. Ready, go. Count the things that are red. Look for red, look for red, look for red, look for red, look for red. Keep looking for red, look for red, look for red, look for red. Don't cheat if you know this exercise. Look for red, look for red, look for red, look for red, look for red. Keep looking for red, look for red, look for red, look for red, look for red. Type in the chat box. How many things do you find that were red? 18, 13, 4, 9, 10, 13, 2, 10, 15. Amazing. Amazing. Well, what if red was why your business isn't going to work? What if red was why business is overwhelming? You're seeing it everywhere, right? But question, how many things did you find that were blue? No idea. Why? You weren't looking for it. But check this out. I'm willing to bet in a group of, 51 Beachbody coaches. There's some Beachbody blue laying around, right? So let's look for blue. Count the number of things that are blue. Look for blue, look for blue, look for blue, look for blue. Keep looking for blue, look for blue, look for blue, look for blue. Keep looking for blue, look 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 for blue. Keep looking for blue, look for blue, look for blue. Oh my gosh, it's everywhere. You're looking at my shirt. You're looking at my eyes. You're looking at me. My face is turning blue. You think I'm blue. Keep looking for blue. Type in the chat box. How many things do you find that were blue? You just found all the reasons why you can be successful. Red, why I can't. Blue, why I can. They're both there. Which one are you looking for? How many guys saw teal shit and pretended it was blue, by the way, so you feel successful? Right? Seriously. We want to prove to ourselves that we're successful, right? We have fun, don't we? We have fun. So what does this prove, guys? This proves that there is successful opportunities for you to learn, for you to grow, for you to thrive everywhere. We just got to start looking for blue. That's what we got to look for. Write this down. Focus equals reality to the individual, even if it's not reality in actuality. Focus equals reality to the individual, even if it's not reality in actuality. What does that mean? Whatever you focus on, you will feel. So focus equals feeling. If you focus on how business is overwhelming, or my marriage sucks, or I don't have enough money, or whatever it is, if you focus on anything disempowering, it's going to feel real whether it's BS or not. I gave the example on your team page the other day about if your spouse is late coming home from work and they're an hour and a half late and they haven't texted, they haven't called. What do you feel? What do you focus on? Right? Some people say worry, some people say anger, some people say gratitude. Right? How you answer that question will tell me a lot about your marriage, but but the point is, whatever you're focused on in the moment, it's going to feel real. So if you're focused on how your spouse is in a ditch somewhere, you're going to feel it, whether it's true or not. If you're focused on how you're grateful that your spouse is likely at the grocery store, you're going to feel it, whether it's real or not. If you're focused on how you're angry that your spouse is cheating on you with their secretary or whatever, right? You're going to feel it, whether it's real or not. If business is frustrating, you are going to feel it, whether it's real or not. If Success Club is overwhelming or inviting is scary, you will feel it, whether it's real or not. Because wherever focus goes, energy flows. And energy leads to emotion, and emotion is life. Does that make sense? That's what we need to change. And to do that, there's one rule. There's one rule I have for you guys, and this is the only rule throughout the entire program besides Peach Cobbler. Besides Peach Cobbler. And that one rule is to take 100% responsibility for every single part of your life. Every part, even the painful parts. Even the past, even the things that aren't your fault. You are 100% responsible for every single one of them. And until you believe that, you will live in a state of blame. And when you live in a state of blame, what you're doing is avoiding facing your fears. And when you avoid facing your fears, it will feel comfortable, but you won't thrive. And it will eventually lead to long-term pain. A lot of people on this call have experienced trauma in their lives, whether it's tough parental relationships or physical abuse or whatever it is. And I honor you and I respect you for going through something so traumatic and something so painful. I do not wish that on anybody. And if I could punch that person in the face, I absolutely would. The point is, someone said me too. But the point is, you are responsible for it. And that might be very hard to hear. And you might want to hit me. And that's okay. It's okay. But I'm telling you right now, and you'll learn this throughout the program, our very first session is called Radical Responsibility. You must take responsibility for it. Now, here's where a lot of people look at this the wrong way. Responsibility does not mean it's my fault. Responsibility means I am able to respond. It means that I am taking responsibility for my thoughts, my feelings, and my beliefs about this go forward. That's responsibility. It's not saying we condone the action or the thing that happened. It's saying we're not going to let it weigh us down anymore. That's responsibility. It's different than blame. Blame is focused on the past. It's focused on what went wrong. Responsibility is focused on the future and where you want to go. And so the rule is 100% responsibility for every single aspect of your life. If you don't have the bank account you want, you are responsible for it. If you don't have the business you want, you are responsible for it. If you don't have the marriage you want, you are responsible for it. Side note, I'd like to give you guys a bonus session on marriage at a different time, and I'm happy to schedule that anytime you guys would like. It only takes one person to heal a relationship. One. And I'll teach you guys how to do that. But you are responsible for it. You are 100% responsible for every single piece of it. And once you take responsibility, all of a sudden the floodgates open and you start to realize, holy cow, I can do something about this. But why is it sexy to not take responsibility? Why is it sexy to not take responsibility? Anyone know? Why? Because it means we get to avoid fear and stay comfortable. We can avoid fear and stay comfortable. We live in mediocrity land. We're not going to fail, but we're not going to thrive. And I have a feeling if you're here, you want to freaking thrive. You want to win in life. That's what you're going after. So we need to take responsibility if that's ever going to happen. It's not because you don't know enough people. It's not because you don't have the time. It's not because I work with one of my one-on-one clients has 9 kids that all live at home, and she has a successful business. You can do this. It is not the time. It is not the number of people that you know. It is not how your kid acts. It's not the spousal support that you get. It is not any of that. It is never a lack of resources that is your problem. It's a lack of resourcefulness. Human emotion is the ultimate resource. Human emotion and resourcefulness are synonymous. I think I'm not sure if I said this to you the other day or not, but we're going to do this again because it's still powerful. Let's say that I had a castle. I had a really cool castle, and this castle was surrounded by a moat. And this moat's really cool. And in this castle, around this castle, you have a moat. And this moat is filled with alligators and crocodiles and beasts and swimming lions and all this insane, crazy stuff, and piranhas and barracudas and sharks and great white sharks and electric eels. And there was a fence around the moat that went up 100 feet high, and it was electric, and it would shock you. And there was barbed wire at the top with torpedoes that shot out of it. I just made all that up. But let's say that was the scenario. And on the inside of my castle, I had a $10 bill that was sitting on the bed on the top floor. And I said, if you get into the castle, you can have $10. Would you go into the castle or try to get into the castle? No? Joy's like, hell no, right? Anyone? There's always one crazy person that's like, yeah, I would do it, right? But no. But what if lying in the bed on the top floor of that castle was the person you love the most, and the building was on fire, and they were asleep and didn't know? Raise your hand if you would find a freaking way into that castle. You'd find a way. You'd make the way because you have a reason. Reasons come first. Answers come second. It is not your circumstances that need to change. It's you that needs to change. And that comes from the inside out. It's human emotion. That's the ultimate resourcefulness. It has nothing to do with the number of people you know. It has nothing to do with your invite strategy. All that stuff is figure outable. It has to do with your reasons for doing it. So, how am I doing on time? Oh man, I could go for like 2 more hours on this stuff, guys. But how many guys, is it cool if I go a little bit over the hour? I want to make sure and really add some value. Julie, is that okay with you if I go a little bit over the hour? Okay, cool. I want to make sure and just pour into you guys with this and just go above and beyond here. Because a lot of the time, people think that people go about changing their circumstances the wrong way. How many guys have circumstances in your life that you would like to change? Anyone? Anyone? Awesome. Well, what I'm going to teach you briefly, I'm going to go through this in way more detail in session 11, but briefly, is what's called the 3 keys to a breakthrough. Okay? What would you guys say is a breakthrough? Type in the chat box. What do you think a breakthrough is? Right? A breakthrough. Breakthrough, maybe it's more business, more money, an aha moment, a positive change, answers the aha moments. Yeah, write this down. A breakthrough is a moment in time when the impossible all of a sudden becomes possible. It's a moment in time, bless you. It's a moment in time when all of a sudden the impossible becomes possible. That is a breakthrough. And so what a lot of people want is more money. They want more time. They want more freedom. They want more success. And that's great. And that's what we're after. We want to create an amazing 2021, but most people go about it the wrong way. Most people go about breaking through backwards. And that's why most people don't have what they want. Because what I'm going to tell you is the 3 keys to a breakthrough. I'm going to tell you them in reverse order of importance. And I want you to see how true this feels for you. This is how most people go about their goals, and it's why most people do not have their goals. Okay, ready for it? The number 3 most important key to a breakthrough is the strategy. It's how. How do I invite? How do I follow up? How do I do a successful product launch? How do I lead my team? How do I hit Success Club? How do I build my list? How do I motivate my people? How do I remotivate the people that aren't moving right now? How? And I guarantee you that 98% of this call is obsessed with how. And also, also, when you get stuck in how, what happens? You live in the land of perfection. And like we talked about, perfection is the lowest standard we can have. It causes us to do nothing, right? Or do everything and still feel miserable. We'll research and we'll make sure we have the right how. And write this down. When you know why, the how will reveal itself. When you know what you're after and why you want it, the how will show up for you. You will figure it out. You just got to lean in. So, by the way, is the how important? Yes. Yes, it is important. You need to know how. You can't go to someone on social media and say, hey, you look fat. Want to buy a challenge pack? Right? That would be a really poor strategy for hitting Success Club. It wouldn't work. Don't do that, by the way. Do not, can we promise, type I promise in the chat box, you can promise never to do that. That's disrespectful and rude, never do that. Okay? It's the wrong strategy. So there is a strategy on how to help people. There's a strategy. If you put the eggs in after the cake is done baking, you're not going to have a good cake. Right? And strategies are so important. I love strategies. You can take someone that has spent, and this is literally what we're doing in our 3 months. I've taken 10 years of personal growth and hundreds of thousands of dollars in my own self-development, and you're shrinking decades into days by learning these strategies, right? That is a strategy. It's important. It matters, but it's not the most important. So, we want to learn the strategies. We can shortcut it by learning from people that have gone before us. You have one of the top leaders in the entire Beachbody network teaching you the strategies. It's not a matter of how. Like, if you want to know how to build a network marketing business, Google it. Your business is not rocket science. It's spread love to people and invite them to better their life. There you go. That's your entire business, right? Keep it simple. That's not disrespectful. It's just the truth, right? Business is not complicated. We make it complicated. So it is important that we know how. We got to know how to invite. We got to know how to hit Success Club. But it's the least important of the three. The second most important key to a breakthrough, and this is what determines if you actually apply the strategy or find it, is the story. The story, otherwise known as your beliefs. The story that you tell yourself. For example, I don't have the support I need. My spouse doesn't love this. I don't know enough people. Oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. And I'm just a high anxiety person. And oh my gosh, my bank account's overdrawn. I don't even know if this is worth it. People are making fun of me on social media, right? Yada, yada, yada. Change your story, change your life. That's a story. With that story, do you even apply the correct strategies? No. You never even apply them. Will you have the resourcefulness to find the correct strategies with that story? With a disempowering story? No. So when you think about your business, what are the stressful thoughts that come up on a regular basis? Type in the chat box. What's like one really main stressful thought that comes up on a regular basis? Type in the chat box. What is it? Everyone's got one. Everyone's got one. Failing? Okay. I feel like I'm failing. I feel like I'm a failure. I know how to pivot my content now. Failure seems like a common theme here. What did I miss? I'll be irrelevant and an ineffective leader, never enough time letting others down. These are stories, right? We tell ourselves stories, but are these facts? No. When you live in the land of stories, you'll never be able to solve them because stories compound and it feels insurmountable, right? When you say, have you ever been in the shower and the crazy voice in your head starts going a million miles an hour and you're going, who the hell is this person, right? If that were a real human being, would you ever get lunch with them? Right? Never. Never. You'd never hang out with them ever. Right? But we let that person dictate our life. When we let those stories take over about how, I can't be a good mom and a good business owner. It's not true. Right? I can't hit Success Club and go on date nights on Fridays. I'm making stuff up, right? But still, when we live in storyland, it feels insurmountable. It feels defeating. You don't know what to do. because you can't solve it. We need to live in the state of the facts instead. What's true? Oh, I missed Success Club last month. Okay, what do you do? Invite more. Cool, solved, right? There you go. Simple. We want to change our story. Like, what if your story that you showed up to business with every day was, I'm a freaking badass and I deserve success and these people deserve to be the healthiest and most fit they've ever been in their entire lives and I can change it and I can change their life right now. If that was the story you showed up with every day, would you find the strategy? Even if it wasn't there, you'd find it, right? Because the story you tell yourself is way more important than any how. Does that make sense? Okay. And without getting into too much detail, because I want to do an entire session on this, because it's so powerful. What causes the stories? Like, this might make logical sense. You might know that you want to show up every day and say, yeah, I'm a badass, I can do this. But how many of you guys have ever tried to convince yourself to feel good and then you just go back down into negative state? You know what I'm talking about? Right? So how do we actually get ourselves to believe this when there's not this crazy dude yapping at you on Zoom at 9 o'clock at night? How do we actually get ourselves to believe it? And it leads to the number one most important key to a breakthrough. And this is where we need to start. And that is your state, your emotional state. The emotions that you live with every single day. We all have an emotional home that we live in. Most people think if they could just figure out how, then their beliefs would change, which would make them feel good, right? How, story, strategy, story, state. That's how most people do it. If I could just figure out how, then I could believe it. And so I would feel really, really amazing. That's not how it works. It's, I feel amazing, and when I feel amazing, the positive stories automatically play, and I figure out how or make the way, and I show up. It starts with your energetic and emotional state. That's number one. And most people, right? And most people have an emotional home they go back to. Pissed off people tend to get pissed off. Happy people tend to get happy. Fearful people tend to be fearful. Depressed people find more reasons to be depressed. Anxious people find ways to be anxious. I'm curious, what are your two favorite flavors of suffering? Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors. What are your two favorite flavors of suffering? What is it? Is it worry? Is it anxiety? Is it panic? So if you're generally an anxious person, how do you not get into the anxious state? Nicole, excellent question. That is session 7 of our program. But I'll answer in just a second. I'll come back to your question. Where was I? Was talking about state. That's a pattern interrupt, by the way. Yeah, what's our favorite flavor of suffering? What do we tend to go back to? I want you to imagine your emotions like a thermostat. You can tune in to you can set your emotional thermostat to any temperature you would like. Most people have it set to a certain level. Most people have it set to anxious and overwhelmed, fearful and worried, exhausted and panicked, whatever it is, right? And so let's say that your thermostat in your home was set to 70 degrees, right? 70 degrees. It's a good temperature, right? It's a good temperature. If things get cold and it's winter outside, I know some of you guys are in Indy, I'm in Chicago, it gets cold, right? If it gets cold outside, and the temperature in your home drops to say 60, first of all, you need a new furnace. But if it drops to 60, and that's what happens, but your emotional thermostat is set at 70, what will happen? Furnaces kick on, you might feel the emotions of pain, and you'll bounce back, right? But if your emotional thermostat is set at 70, and things start getting really, really good, 80, 90, 100 degrees, but your emotional thermostat is set at 70. What happens when things start to get good, guys? Cool it back down because it's unknown. The brain would rather be certain and in pain than going after our dreams and uncertain. It's a survival mechanism. So it likes to stay at that emotional state. It's kind of like a radio dial, right? You have all these frequencies you could tune into. All these frequencies, and they're all available at all times. But there's one or two frequencies that we like to tune into the most. Anxiety, worry, fear, whatever it is. We tune into it. We can access all of them, but I'm willing to bet that the higher frequencies, 1079, right? 1079, those higher frequencies, unconditional love, gratitude, excitement, like that feeling of aliveness, I'm willing to bet that that's where the business success lies. I'm willing to bet that's where the money lies. And we have a whole other idea. I can even go on for hours about abundance and finances and all that at a different time. But that's where money exists, at 1079, the highest frequency you can tune into. Most people try to change their life from a 92.3 or a 96.3 or a jazz station, right? Maybe jazz station is the good one. I don't know, whatever it is for you. But where do you tune into? Where do you tune into? And to answer, whose question was that? To answer, scrolling back up, Nicole's question, if your thermostat or radio dial is set to like 92.3 and you know you want to be at 107.9, or your thermostat's set at 70 and you want to be at 100, right? Or wherever you want to be, how do you actually change it? You notice instead of self-judge. You notice instead of self-judge. What happens when you feel anxious, for example? And we're going to go in so much detail with this in session 7, it's not even funny. Not even funny. We're going to dive deep into emotional mastery. It's going to be incredible. But what do when typically we feel anxious or overwhelmed? What happens? You ever notice that you get anxious about the fact that you're anxious? Right? You get overwhelmed with the fact that you're overwhelmed, and you make it wrong and you pound it and just make it the worst thing in the world. And you get in these weird states and shut down and compensate with food or alcohol or whatever it is. And then you feel guilty about it. It's not a fun place to be, right? But what were to happen if you were to just pause and say, I'm anxious right now. Okay. I'm noticing I'm anxious. Why might I be anxious? Okay, there's a lot going on. I'm excited about the future. It's a little fearful that I won't be able to get it all done. Why else might I be anxious? Okay, I want to be a more present mom, but I've been really involved in my business. Okay, that makes sense. What happens to the level of anxiety when you don't make your emotions wrong? It goes down. The fastest way out of a limiting emotion is to not deny the limiting emotion. Acceptance, notice, see it for what it is. Don't make it worse than it is. It's the fastest way out. Write this down. All emotions serve you. All emotions serve you. If you feel pain, it's a great thing. It causes you to move. We just don't want to stay there, right? Anger, it serves you. It's good. You get pissed off. Maybe you do something about it. You just don't stay there, right? All emotions serve us. We just don't want to make them wrong. We want to accept them and notice them without self-judgment, and we can start to move forward. Does that make sense? When we master our emotions and we know how, and I'm going to teach you this in detail, when we know how to change our thermostat, that's where we can raise that frequency at any time we want. And when we raise that frequency at any time we want, when we raise that thermostat at any time we want, what automatically happens to the stories that play in our head? They improve, they get better. We believe in ourselves. We start doing new things. All these other things that seem so overwhelming that came from the limiting story aren't even a thing anymore. You don't even have to worry about it because you have like bigger fish to fry. You're not even worried about the old stuff, and you find the strategy. That's how you break through, and it starts with your emotions. Your emotions dictate the quality of your life. You can make all the money in the world in Beachbody, but if you're not happy, you have not succeeded. You have failed. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure in life. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate. Don't quote me on that. That's a Tony Robbins quote. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure in life. You can have all the money. There's nothing more annoying than a pissed off rich person, right? Right? Isn't that so annoying? Right? We got to find the joy. We got to bring the joy. I will teach you how to do that. So, how many guys are excited about the program we're going to dive into? I know I rambled, but man, I get lit up about this stuff. So, how many guys want to see what we're going to cover over the next 12, 13 weeks? Just pretty awesome. And we're going to throw some other surprises in there too for you guys. Lots of other stuff. There's going to be some opportunities for more advanced training. We don't need to worry about that tonight. We're going to worry about the main core curriculum tonight. I'm also going to throw in some other stuff on maybe some marriage stuff, some money stuff, some other stuff that's outside this, just to add even more value to you guys and just help you just transform from the inside out. My number one goal from this program, I'm going to take you through the curriculum in a second. My number one goal from this program is that you wake up 3 months from now just a happier, more fulfilled person. That's my goal. And if you can wake up happier and more fulfilled, you'll find a way to succeed. It's easy. It's not hard. You'll just do it. And it will be relaxing. It will be fun. It will be exciting. It will be joyful. And it won't be this big push for success. You'll be pulled and guided through success. It's a beautiful way to live. So how many of you guys want to see the curriculum? Awesome. Julie, if you could allow screen sharing for me, I will screen share on my monitor here. I think if you click share and then allow multiple people to share. Awesome. I am a host now, so I can share. Awesome. Awesome. How many guys can see my screen? Is that coming through? You don't see my main desktop, you see my slides here? Awesome. Okay, so this is our main curriculum that we're going to talk about. In session number 1, we're going to talk about radical responsibility. And what that means is, instead of blaming events or other people or situations or ourselves, we're going to learn how to take 100% responsibility for every single part of our life. Every single part, including our business, including our finances, including all of that. And it's done through a process called be, do, have. Most people go about success backwards. They operate from a have, do, be mindset. We're going to reverse it into a be, do, have mindset. I'll teach you all of that. So we're going to show you the person we need to become. Remember, you don't go after big goals for the goals. You go after them for the feelings you think they'll bring you. And the feelings that you think your goals will bring you, you can feel them right now when you be a different person. And I'm going to teach you how to do that so you can feel the feelings of your wishes now, instead of thinking that they exist in the future. And when you feel the feelings of your wishes now, that's when you start to attract them to your life. Okay? That's session 1, how to take 100% responsibility and be the person that will create that level of success. Foundational stuff. Session 2, what are the rituals that back this up? Because our life is a reflection of our rituals. If you work out 7 days a week, take 0 rest days, and eat pizza every single day, 3 times a day, you're not going to have a healthy looking body. But if you have a ritual of exercise and a ritual of eating vegetables and drinking water and getting enough sleep, you're going to have a completely different looking body, right? Pending there's no autoimmune stuff going on, but you get the point, right? You're going to have a completely different body because our life is a reflection of our rituals. I can tell if someone lifts weights. It's obvious because you couldn't look that way without rituals to back up who you want to be. So once we identify who we're being, then we're going to back it up with actual actions and things that will make us live that way now, things we can put into practice to feel that way and prime ourselves to feel alive. If you are not priming yourself to be the best version of yourself, then your environment is priming you. And your environment does not have your best interest in mind. Your environment has their own best interest in mind. Your email inbox, it's nothing more than a convenient organization tool for other people's priorities. That's all your email inbox is. And so we want to make sure we're priming ourselves to feel really alive, instead of having the environment around us prime us. And I'm going to teach you how to do that through rituals. Session 3, we're going to shatter some BS. We're going to shatter some limiting beliefs. It's going to be deep. It's going to be emotional. You will feel some stuff during that exercise. But you're going to realize it'll be so powerful. You will realize how much these beliefs are really costing you. And you'll never want to live that way again. Because when you can link pain to something that you've believed for such a long time, you won't stay there. Pain is what rips apart limiting beliefs. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. Next, atypical goal setting workshop. Once we get rid of the gunk, now we can dream huge. We can dream huge. Like we talked about, we need to dream like a little kid. We need to think massively, not set goals based on what we've been able to achieve in the past. You need to be unrealistic with your dreams. I'm not saying be stupid and say you're going to be a billionaire tomorrow, but I'm saying set dreams that seem so unrealistic to you that make you come alive, right? Write this down. Realism is the fastest traveled road to mediocrity. It's a Will Smith quote. Realism is the fastest traveled road to mediocrity. If you pair a realist and an optimist next to each other, and let's say you have a pessimist, a realist, and an optimist. Let's make this up. And let's forget about the pessimist, though, because the pessimist isn't even going to try, and they're going to view everything through cynicism, and they're not going to win. Okay, so we'll put them in their own corner, let them have their pity party. So you got your realist and your optimist. And the optimist is super excited about the future and says to the realist, hey, Mr. Realist, what are your goals for 2021? And the realist goes, I don't know, I think I'm going to go for a diamond by the end of the year. I think that's a realistic goal I can hit in the course of a year. I can find, 8 people, get them to find 2 of them to find 2 people each, 12 people on my team. I think that's doable 1 month. I'm going to set a realistic goal that I can do and hit diamond by the end of the year. And the optimist goes, awesome, so cool. I'm going to do something even crazier. I'm going to hit 15-star diamond, and I just signed up as a coach yesterday. And that's what the optimist does. I'm going to go after these huge dreams. I'm going to be a 2021 elite team serving people all over the world in the US and Canada and France and the UK and just serving people in the biggest way possible. And the realist goes, you sure, man? I don't think that's realistic. And the optimist goes, yeah, I'm sure. I'm going to go after it. So they both go on their merry way. And guess what happens? The optimist fails. The optimist fails miserably. They trip, they fall, they stumble, they miss opportunities. They don't know what they don't know. They try so hard and they don't get there. So the realist was right. And the realist hits their happy, safe goal of diamond by the end of the year. But where do you think the optimist ends up? When an optimist fails, what happens? You learn and you get back up and you do it again. You learn, you get back up and you do it again. You learn, you get back up and you do it again. So by the time the end of the year happens, even if they don't hit that 15-star elite goal, where are they? Maybe they hit 7-star, 8-star, 10-star. They're so much further along than the realist ever will be because they had the courage to dream. That's optimism. Having the courage to dream. As a realist, you're not going to fail, but you're not going to thrive. You're just going to stay safe, and safety never leads to pride. Safety will never lead to a prideful life. The road less traveled will lead to a prideful life. So we're going to set some big ass goals. That's session 4. And so session 5 is how do we actually make them happen? And I'm going to teach you something called the results focused, purpose-driven, massive action plan. And basically what that means is we're going to set goals and go after these goals in a different way than people are used to. We're going to eliminate to-do lists from our life. Oh, I pissed off a lot of moms right there. We're going to eliminate to-do lists. And we're going to start making our lists based on the result we want that day and the outcome we want that day. Think about it. If you start your day saying, what do I need to do? It's missing the point. What if you started your day saying, what's the result I want today? I want to hit Success Club in one day. I want to make my son feel like the most loved and cherished person in the world. And I want to make my spouse feel like I value them so highly. If those are your outcomes, do your action steps change based on, instead of just getting what you need to done? If your objective is Success Club, make your kids feel loved and make your spouse feel incredible, your action steps will change because you'll start to align with a target instead of just trying to check the box. Now, I'm not saying things like your Success Club tracker are wrong. They're incredible. They're right. Do them, right? But we need an outcome in mind and a reason, a purpose-driven massive action plan. So what we're going to do, what that's going to do is teach you how to get more done in a day than you used to in a week. It'll be the most incredible thing when you realize how productive you can actually be. It'll be wild. And like, for example, we have a newborn, right? She's 3 months old. Had her 3 months ago. It's been the most productive and the most successful 3 months of my entire life. And I've been sleeping less and had way more responsibilities than I ever have before from this. I'm going to teach you how to do it. Okay? Session 6. Now that we know what we want, we've shattered all the crap, we know what we want, we know exactly how we're going to get there. Now we can adopt some new beliefs that will make that possible. more empowering beliefs that if we had that as the basis of that success cycle, why the rich get richer, right? Like we talked about at the beginning, that's at the basis of it. And we have even more empowering beliefs, you're going to skyrocket. Okay. So that's what session 6 is. Number 7, like we talked about, I'm going to teach you how to master your emotions, because guess what could F this whole thing up? When people in your life or situations in your life don't go in alignment with your expectations of how they should be. And by the way, how often is that going to happen? Every freaking day. And so we can either let our circumstances dictate how we feel, or we can learn to master our emotions and bring that to our circumstances. When we learn to master our emotions, life changes very, very quickly, very quickly. Because you might get hurt, but pain is guaranteed. Suffering is optional. It's your choice. You stay there because it gives you a feeling of significance that you have it harder, right? Or some other story. And that feeling of significance that you have it harder, it doesn't change your life, but it makes you feel comfortable in the moment. Okay? We want to change that. We feel the emotions, we feel the anger, we feel the frustration. We just give ourselves a 90-second rule and bounce back. This is how people that seem like they're happy on a regular basis are happy on a regular basis, because they know how to control their emotions. I'm going to teach you. In session 8, how do we master our fear? Procrastination, overwhelm, anxiety, scarcity, it is all fear. It's a survival mind. I'm going to teach you how to master it so you can own your fear and use your fear and dance with your fear. If I held my fist out, imagine I'm holding my fist out and I held it up against your fist, I push, what would you automatically do? You'd push back, right? You'd push back. That's how we handle fear. We resist fear. We wish it didn't exist. We say things like, I should be fearless. You will never be fearless. You will always be afraid because it's in your nervous system. I am I am scared every day of my life because I put myself in situations intentionally to make myself scared because it causes me to grow. And I've trained that. But when we resist fear and we make it wrong and we think we need to be fearless, then we're in an illusionary state. We need to stop pushing back against fear and accept fear and learn to use it. This is where we reverse procrastination, overwhelm, anxiety forever. I'm going to teach you how to do that. Failure into feedback, session 9. Pretty straightforward. Most people don't go after their big goals because they think that a mistake means that they are a failure. And that is absolutely not true. Please remember that results in life come from good judgment. And good judgment comes from experience. And experience typically comes from bad judgment. So you need to make mistakes. And if you don't make mistakes, you're never going to thrive. If you don't allow yourself to make mistakes, you're living in perfection. And perfection is the lowest standard we can have. In order to be outstanding, you need to fail. It's the only way you're going to learn. We're going to turn that around into feedback. Session 10, the secret ingredient, which is bringing a beautiful, actually, I don't want to tell you what it is yet. I'm going to leave some curiosity there. But it's magic. And when you feel this every day, you unlock so much. You are in awe of life every day. And when you're in awe of life every day, I'm not telling you what the secret ingredient is yet, but when you're in awe of life every day, it's just, you don't have problems. You realize that problems are the gifts you grow from. And everything changes when you adopt this secret ingredient. Session 11, we're going to expand way deeper on how to create a breakthrough, like we talked about tonight, way deeper on it. And session 12, the art of stress-free success, which is basically how do we succeed and crush huge goals and be happy simultaneously? How do we not let this massive push turn us into mush, and instead we're pulled towards big dreams and feel fulfilled and alive and succeeding way more beyond standard norms than we ever have before? How many of you guys are a little bit excited about what we're going to talk about over the next 3 to 4 months? And by the way, I'm going to have plenty of other stuff beyond just this. I'm going to add above and beyond value, above and beyond what program I promised Julie. It'll be above and beyond all of this. So I am so excited to serve you guys. I want to thank you for your time and your trust. I want to thank you for spending an hour and 15 minutes out of your evening. I know it's late for some of you guys. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to allow me to serve you. And Julie, I'll turn it back to you to close us out.
Well, that was just everything and more. So I just don't even know what we're supposed to say after that, because I took about 14 pages of notes. So I hope all of you did too. Doesn't it almost feel like, I mean, this might not be the best analogy. Doesn't it almost just feel like the vaccine? Like, oh, there's hope. It's a light. Like, this is what we've been waiting for. But we had to travel through 2020 to get to that point, and that's okay. So a couple reminders. Number one, remember, if you are interested in the Elite Mentorship, that Q&A call. It's not I'm committing to it. It's a Q&A call tomorrow at 2. That information is in the team page. It will also go in there tomorrow morning. So there'll be a reminder in there tomorrow morning. And then Friday, Brad, do you want to just talk for a minute on the call that's Friday at noon? We've talked about it a couple times, but if you want to give them a little sneak peek as to what it is.
Yes, absolutely. So guys, over the last 6 years, I have been investing heavily into my personal growth and development. And every year, part of that, whether it's getting recertified with Brendon Burchard every year, or whether it's going to different events throughout the U.S. and internationally, and just learning and growing, I fully believe that when you invest in yourself at a high level, you take what took someone decades to learn and you can shrink it into a couple of days.
100%.
And it's so powerful. And so what I've done is, over the last 6 years, I have gone consistently to Tony Robbins events every single year, multiple times. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into it, and it's changed my entire life. And so every year I go back, and I went back recently to Unleash the Power Within. I'm not sure if any of you guys have gone there. Incredible event. And I also have gone to Date with Destiny, which is where we literally learn why we do what we do and how to reframe all of it. And so what I'd like to do for you guys, just as something to add even more value to you, is I'm putting together a recap. It's not just your team. It'll be, I have another a big consulting client that I'm doing this with, as well as all of my students in my Appreciation Academy program. Everyone's going to be there. And so it'll be a ton of people, but I'm just going to be giving my top 10 takeaways from UPW and Date with Destiny, and how you can actually apply it to your life without actually being at the event. So you're taking that event and just putting it into an hour, maybe 2 hours max. I'm going to try to keep it concise to an hour, because I know your time is valuable, but I like to talk. So we'll see. But I highly encourage you to show up, because you're going to learn a lot of really cool stuff way beyond what we talked about tonight. It'll be really powerful. So that's Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I've bucketed 2 hours. We'll probably be a little bit shorter than that, but it will be really, really impactful in a summary from those. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
That's awesome. And I think I've put that in the team page already, but I will go back and make sure. Can someone just remind me if I have? Sometimes I don't remember what I've done and haven't done, but I do. I'm pretty sure I also put it in Friday morning, because I know you sent me the link, Brad. So I'm pretty sure that stuff's in there. If not, I'll get it in there before Friday. I also lead the Collaborative Power Hour at 1. So I'll be on for an hour. These guys can be on for as long as they can be, and then I'll be popping off to go lead the Power Hour. So I hope you guys are excited, because I'm super excited for this. I'm super pumped for, I was like very anxious, not in a bad way, like in a good way, to get to tonight, because I'm just so excited to bring all of this to you and to be working through it with you, because at the same time, Brad is mentoring the team. He and I are working together too. So I think that's important for you to know, to understand that the in the trenches work that we're doing on a larger scale, I'm also doing it too, because I'm never going to ask you to do something that I'm not also doing myself. And probably the stuff that he and I will do will be massively uncomfortable sometimes. Well, cool. Awesome. Let's go. Because at the end of Q1, if it wasn't uncomfortable, sometimes where am I? I'm still in the same spot, and so are you. So, just a really quick story, then we'll get off. My daughter, Jessie, has been working with really amazing mentors, and they live in Europe. They live in New York City. They work with like big time people. And somehow we got connected with them, and she works with them, and it's all about physical integration of voice in the body. So they ask her to do, like, I can hear her upstairs sometimes when she's having her lesson, and like she's moving around and she's doing things. And I'm like, it's a voice lesson. Well, it's a physical integration of the voice in the body. So they're asking her to do stuff with like her feet and her eyes, and like just kind of weird, interesting stuff that is opening up her voice in new ways. And I said, do you ever feel kind of like, is it weird? Is it kind of old? But she goes, I just go with it. She goes, otherwise, What's the point? Why am I here? I'm just going with it. And I'm like, okay, you're 19, so thank you for teaching me that. Let me just go get my notebook and write that down. Thank you very much. I just go with it. Otherwise, what's the point? So I figure if my 19-year-old can do weird things with her feet and her eyes so she can sing on Broadway someday, we can do that in our own way too. So I hope you're willing to do that. There'll be more information on a couple of the mentorship opportunities. There'll be more information on the call times, and really the bottom line is you'll make it. If you want to make it a priority, you won't. If you don't, and it is what it is. Need I remind you that when I started this business, I did my team calls at 10:30 p.m. at night on a Thursday night. Please don't tell me that you can't figure it out. I did. On a dial-up phone. Okay, dial-up. Like a landline. Do you even know what that is? No, you do not. Okay. So that information will be in the team page. Don't you worry. And you just got to stay engaged in the team page to know it. That's just all there is to it. So, okay. So we'll see Brad on Friday. If that works in your schedule, remember that's kind of an add-on. That's like a bonus. That's a 9-week control freak bonus on Friday. And if you record it, Brad, and we can have that recording too, that'd be amazing. This recording will be popped in the team page. If you have team members who, working or what time difference or whatever couldn't be on, make sure you get it. And just get really excited. Get yourself a couple fresh notebooks because we're about to go in quarter one. Cool? All right. Have a good evening. Talk to you later.